From the Cronkite studios in downtown Phoenix, this is Cronkite News.
People stay away from like it's the plague, and that's pretty much what it is. It's a plague.
Business owners in South Phoenix want the light rail to stay away. What this means for the proposed expansion next.
The valley is facing an excessive heat warning this weekend. What you need to know to beat the heat. And
taking off with technology. The contents of this Arizona plane could be the future of flying.
Cronkite News starts now.
Good evening and welcome to Cronkite News on Arizona PBS. I'm Cariño Haro.
And I'm Sam Hoyle. Thank you for joining us. There's fear and anger from some over expanding the light rail into South Phoenix.
Reporter Emily Richardson talked to South Phoenicians about what this could mean for their community.
I attended a community meeting where Phoenicians came together to share their opinion on the South Central Light Rail extension. And the overwhelming majority of people who live or own businesses along Central Avenue do not want the light rail coming to their side of town.
If the South community has to pay a price for bringing this project, we don't want it.
Valley Metro is planning a light rail extension that will stop at Baseline and Central. They believe it will help create connectivity throughout Phoenix.
The South Central Extension is going to be critical. It will be an opportunity for people to connect to South Central Phoenix conveniently through the light rail system.
But business owners along Central Avenue are worried about the train reducing Central to only 2 lanes, causing drivers to use alternative routes and hurting businesses that would run along the light rail's path.
People will be staying away from Central because they don't want to be near the light rail. They don't want to drive alongside of it. All the other ones that have come through and been built, people stay away from like it's the plague. And that's pretty much what it is. It's a plague.
I don't want to close my doors because the light rail plus, it is frustrating when the political people don't count with the community.
Valley Metro believes the expansion will actually help businesses based on their previous extensions.
They've seen a boost in business. We've had $10.2 billion of economic development along the system. So we really hope the same thing happens for our friends in South Central Phoenix.
Some of the citizens believe the project's money would be better used to beautify their community or adding better bus routes. The South Central Light Rail extension is scheduled to start construction in 2019 and open in 2023. In the Broadcast Center, Emily Richardson, Cronkite News.
An ozone health watch has just been issued across the valley. The Arizona Department of Environmental Quality put the watch in place for the next 24 hours. The valley will also be under a high pollution advisory all weekend. Officials say you should limit outdoor activities. Children are the most vulnerable during these pollution watches because they're more likely to be active outdoors and their lungs are still developing. If you go outside this weekend, you can get free bottles of water at hydration and cooling stations across Maricopa County. The cooling centers are typically set up in churches, libraries, and community centers. Last year, there were 155 heat-related deaths in Maricopa County. That's the highest on record.
As the mercury climbs, so does the danger on valley freeways. The Arizona Department of Transportation says you need to stay alert for gators on the highway. Gators are a nickname for tire treads that wind up on highways after blowouts.
As the temperature warms up, that can exacerbate problems with, tires that are kind of worn out or underinflated or overinflated.
Tire blowouts also lead to traffic jams. Authorities often have to stop traffic to toss tire debris to the shoulder of a freeway. It is going to be a brutal weekend everywhere. From Flagstaff to the White Mountains, you could hit 90 degrees. In the valley, an excessive heat watch has been issued for Sunday morning through Monday night. Forecaster Roger Ratley has more on the hot spell we will all experience.
Brutally hot is right. In fact, the National Weather Service has issued an excessive heat warning beginning Sunday and lasting through Monday. So what does that mean? Well, if you're going to be outside, you want to limit any strenuous activity, and you might want to check on anybody that's exceptionally vulnerable to the heat, such as the elderly. So normally, we wouldn't reach 110 till around June 19th. That's our average. But looking at the forecast, we see that Saturday we're going to be at 105, Sunday 108. Right now, Monday's at 109, but that could increase to 110. I'll have a full forecast coming up for you later in the news. Stay tuned.
Could fighting the sun's heat start from the ground up? Pavement has the potential to mitigate heat, and with Phoenix continuing to expand, city leaders are experimenting with cooling off the concrete.
We're working with the EPA right now to say, are there other materials that we can add to the asphalt to be cooler? Is there a certain paint color, for example, that will allow us to allow the street to radiate less heat?
The city is also examining a pilot program happening in Southern California that could fight climate change. That pilot program has the city painting some roads off-white. The city is spending nearly $200,000 to stain the streets for heat relief. Micah Bledsoe from our LA Bureau reports that if the idea works, we could one day see a fresh paint job on our streets.
The city of Los Angeles is using an oil-based sealant on pavement, a way to reflect the sun's heat instead of absorbing it.
What we found so far when we've put the cool pavement at the different locations, that it does reduce the temperature somewhere in the 10 to 15 degree range from just the uncoated black asphalt.
Gomez says black asphalt absorbs between 80 and 90% of the sun's heat.
So we're hoping that it reduces energy as well and helps in reducing energy and greenhouse gas emissions along with reducing the temperature. So
you may be wondering, why the difference in the color of pavement? And that's because this gray cool sealant reflects heat from the sun, unlike black asphalt, which actually absorbs much of the sun's heat and increases temperatures not only here in LA, but across the country.
Although Cool Seal has positive results, it also has its drawbacks.
It's difficult to make a pavement that's reflective not just when it's new, but reflective after cars have driven on it for a while.
Levinson is urging other states like Arizona to do the same thing, starting first in smaller areas like parks.
Pedestrian spaces have been made cool by applying some sort of a light-colored coating, and those seem to hold up pretty well because we're a lot lighter and do less damage than cars.
Reporting in Los Angeles, Micah Bledsoe, Cronkite News.
Thousands of people across the country gathered today to mark the National Day of Action for Children.
Here in Phoenix, protesters gathered outside the ICE field office. They called for the Trump administration to stop separating immigrant children as they cross the border.
It's just grab the child and put them in a vehicle and whisk them away. That kind of cruelty has happened many times in this country.
This comes after the Department of Homeland Security started prosecuting anyone caught crossing the border illegally. Families are separated because children cannot be held in the same jails. Arizona House Democrats sent a letter ahead of Secretary Nielsen's border visit yesterday, calling on her to reevaluate this policy. The letter reads in part, "Nothing this administration hopes to gain from this draconian policy is worth the cost to a child who now must live in fear of never seeing his or her parents again."
We have reached yet one more historic milestone, with 3.8% unemployment just announced and another all-time record low African American unemployment, Hispanic unemployment at an all-time low.
New statistics released today show the economy is doing well. The unemployment rate in this country is at an 18-year low at 3.8%. But Arizona is lagging behind at almost 5%. Daniel Wilson from the State Office of Economic Opportunity says that number can be deceiving. Arizona is adding jobs, but also adding people.
The number of unemployed and the number of employed have been increasing, but that unemployment rate has remained more or less the same over the last year. But what that really means is that more people are coming into the labor force, individuals who weren't previously looking for a job, as well as migrants from other states are coming into the state and working or looking for work.
In the past year, Arizona has added over 75,000 people into the workforce. Most of those new jobs are in the health, education, and construction sectors. For people with Parkinson's disease, staying mobile can be a challenge.
But one Phoenix man is helping them fight back. Coming up on Cronkite News, how a local boxing gym owner has turned the sport into therapy.
Plus, another gym is making sure local kids are picking up boxing gloves instead of drugs. How the sport is helping them pave a different path.
I'm Judy Woodruff, anchor and managing editor of the PBS NewsHour. The journalists of tomorrow face a fast-changing media landscape, but quality news remains vitally important to our communities, our country, and our world. At ASU's Walter Cronkite School of Journalism and Mass Communication, students learn solid, reliable reporting, holding the powerful accountable, and rebuilding the public's trust. The Cronkite School and Arizona PBS, preparing the next generation for a stronger future of journalism.
As journalists at Cronkite News, we report on stories that matter to you by focusing on the local impact. We dig deeper and work tirelessly to keep you informed.
Live in Wickerburg.
Live in Los Angeles.
In Cleveland, in Washington, in Louisville.
From Jerusalem.
Live in Philadelphia. From around the world to right here in Phoenix.
At Cronkite News, we report the facts and stick to the truth.
Sunday marks the 2-year anniversary of the death of boxing legend Muhammad Ali. Ali died in Paradise Valley in 2016. The Louisville native moved to the valley full-time in 2005 and left a lasting impact with both the annual Celebrity Fight Night fundraiser and the Muhammad Ali Parkinson Center at Barrow Neurological Institute. Ali was both the founder and a patient at the center. In 2016, the center began offering fitness classes in the sport that made Ali an international icon. Barrow started the boxing classes to help improve patients' quality of life with drills similar to those that helped Ali float like a butterfly.
But a year before the classes began there, a local Phoenix boxing gym owner dedicated his work in the ring to helping people diagnosed with Parkinson's disease. Reporter Stephanie Shields tells us how a Scottsdale couple inspired Marty Barrett to use his boxing skills to help others.
Bob and Roz Wattel were married for 49 years when Parkinson's disease ultimately claimed Bob's life in March. But before he passed, Roz found Bob a unique form of Parkinson's therapy with the help of Marty Barrett and the sport of boxing.
Working with Marty was a real up, and it was the thing that he looked forward to during the week.
Marty Barrett, who once trained with Mike Tyson and Floyd Mayweather Jr., owns 12th Round Boxing Gym in Scottsdale. While he trains people of all ages and levels of fitness, Bob Wattel inspired him to learn more about boxing's effect on Parkinson's.
As I spoke with his doctor and found out that there were more people, and as I started to educate myself in the disease and the symptoms of the disease, realized that there was a place for me to be able to help individuals.
Today, Marty and his staff train about 60 Parkinson's patients. Training includes a light jog or walk, numbered punching sequences, and even sparring.
It's been able to focus my attention and to keep moving. Moving is so important because if you allow Parkinson's to get a hold on you, you deteriorate.
The gym rate is $109 monthly, but Marty says he doesn't let that price keep any of the fighters away. With the help of Bob's family, he created a scholarship fund to help pay for those who want to try boxing for their symptoms.
Someone says, well, what's the price? And you can see in their face that they're hoping that it's something that they can afford. So often we say, well, this is the price, but you pay what you can.
The boxers develop a strong bond with Barrett. He would visit Bob Wattel's home to train him there, and he spoke at Wattel's funeral.
I think that they were a wonderful team. Yeah. And I'm really grateful for Marty.
Parkinson's patients training at the gym are grouped together according to their severity of their disease. In the broadcast center, Stephanie Shields, Cronkite News.
Staying in the ring, sports can often be a bridge to personal development. The Hard Knocks Boxing Gym has been building that bridge with children since 1996. Cronkite News reporter Felipe Corral Jr. visited the gym to see how the coaches help the kids punch through barriers.
Arturo Ortega fought his way to becoming a two-time Arizona boxing state champ while avoiding a dangerous fate that befell many close to him.
A lot of my cousins, brothers were in and out of the penitentiary. Sports just gave me something else to do other than doing drugs. All those things that people I knew growing up with, that's just what we're doing. That's what our environment is.
Now, he's paying it forward with a nonprofit program that uses boxing to help at-risk youth at the Hard Knocks Boxing Gym in Phoenix, which he co-owns with his wife, Suzanne.
We're able to bring them in here, take them off the street, take them away from the gangs, take them away from the violence, everything that's going on out there, and bring them in here and help them to be productive citizens.
Our program's designed to teach you how to control yourself, how to set goals, how to achieve different levels of success.
The Hard Knocks Boxing Gym has given at-risk youth a chance to pave their own way in life for over 20 years. Some even taking full advantage of the opportunity and becoming one of the top amateurs in the country, or even have gone pro.
It's amazing to start from zero and start in a bad area and get here, and now I'm ranked in the nation.
Alexis Ortega, who is not related to Arturo and Suzanne, credits his ranking as the 9th best amateur in the country to the Hard Knocks program. The nonprofit supports roughly 15 kids like Alexis, helping them understand life's uppercuts and how to get back up and keep moving forward. In Phoenix, Felipe Corral Jr., Cronkite News.
Summer is a time for faraway places.
And in a landlocked desert like Arizona, sometimes the best way to get there is to fly. Coming up on Cronkite News, we take a look at some new flight technology to make airplanes safer and more enjoyable.
We're under triple digits right now, but things are going to change for the weekend. They're heating up. I'll have your full 7-day forecast coming up after the break.
This is my last broadcast as the anchor man of the CBS Evening News, and that's the way it is.
Carrying on the baton of those who came before us, our superb team of journalists, writers, reporters, editors, producers work each and every week to tell the stories critical to you. For Arizona news that matters, tune into Cronkite News weeknights at 5 on Arizona PBS.
I'm Matt Berry, ESPN Sports Center anchor and graduate of ASU's Walter Cronkite School of Journalism and Mass Communication. With its bachelor's and master's degrees in sports journalism, the Cronkite School is preparing the next generation of sports journalists to tell stories that matter, stories that excite, inspire, and inform. Cronkite immerses students in covering sports at all levels in one of the country's top sports markets. It's this hands-on experience under the guidance of award-winning sports media veterans that shape the top journalists of tomorrow.
By the year 2050, there will be more plastic in the ocean than fish. Before Professor Halden, I had an insane amount of passion, but I almost felt helpless because I didn't know how to use it. Professor Halden gave me a chance to make a difference. Being at a place like ASU allows you to take these big leaps. Ultimately, the biggest problems in the world cannot be solved alone.
Flying over the state, new technology that can make your future flights safer. Reporter Amanda Mason was on board as this Honeywell technology went up 20,000 feet in the air.
Well, it was a unique flying experience taking off on a large Boeing 757 with around 25 people on an aircraft that can carry more than 200 passengers. Now, the goal of the flight was to test 4 new different types of technology. Engines, avionics, Wi-Fi connection, and even the new technology upgrade, Smart Runway, Smart Landing, is being tested on this flight.
Which alerts the pilot when they're on the runway so that it eliminates any collisions or accidents, anything like that.
It's fun being at the kind of the leading edge of technology and
and helping create things that bring a safer and better flying to the public.
This Boeing 757 is the largest aircraft among the fleet of 5 at this testing site at Sky Harbor Airport. Experts say the best way to test their safety equipment is in the most extreme temperatures, which is why they test their flights in Arizona.
We certify an engine, we go to the hottest places we can to test, and we go up to Yellowknife, Canada to do really cold testing. We've done zero-G testing.
According to Honeywell, this is the only aircraft in the world with its third engine location.
A third engine actually mounted on the side of this aircraft, and that allows us to run the main engines, and we can still fly safely while we're testing a third engine.
We're 20,000 feet above central Arizona, here in the cockpit where most of the testing goes on, and one of the things that they're testing, which is not only on domestic and international flights, is a 3D weather radar.
So it's scanning the sky in front of us. Every about 20 seconds, it rebuilds this three-dimensional buffer of all that data that's out there, and then it presents it to the pilots on the screens up front.
This is co-pilot Helmut Eggeling's last flight. He's flown for 53 years and seen a drastic change in how planes operate.
Technology has changed as far as automation is concerned. The philosophy is to get everything automated to reduce the pilot's workload. And, you know, it's necessary because the sky is getting crowded. There's a lot of airplanes flying.
New high-speed Wi-Fi technology, JetWave, is slowly becoming a trend. Instead of ground-air connection, they are setting up Wi-Fi connections by satellite. Now you can currently see some of Honeywell's tested technology on Southwest and United Airlines. The third engine still has one more test before it is approved and released. In Phoenix, Amanda Mason, Cronkite News.
We have the chance to see our first 110-degree day this weekend.
But at least it's a dry heat. Roger Ratley is here with your weather forecast.
Well, I'm not sure if it matters if it's a dry heat or not, because when it's hot, it's hot. However, right now it's not too bad. We're looking at 95 in Phoenix, 97 in Tucson, and 75 in Flagstaff. Looking at your regional forecast, if you're trying to escape the heat, you're going to head up to Flagstaff, or maybe out to California and Los Angeles, around 70 degrees there. However, for us, things are changing. We are going to have an excessive heat warning beginning Sunday and lasting through Monday. What that means is you want to stay inside probably. Maybe it's a good time to catch up on some binge watching of your favorite show, I don't know. But just stay hydrated and check on the elderly. Looking at our forecast, we see we are going to hit 105 on Saturday, 108 on Sunday, Monday's at 109, and then don't hit the panic button, but I'll tell you what, we're looking at 111 on Friday. We'll see what happens with that. I'm Roger Ratley for Cronkite Weather.
It's an event unlike any other in Arizona.
And one that puts a smile on the faces of so many. Coming up on Cronkite News, kids and adults enjoy a special day at the lake. Why it's so important for these families to get a chance to ride the waves.
I like working for Cronkite News because it gives us the opportunity to find a different angle on the same stories that every other news outlet is covering across Arizona. As students, we have the opportunity to cover issues in all across the state of Arizona.
It gives me a good chance to sharpen my skills, improve my skills, learn the techniques in a newsroom and in the programs and teamwork and technology, getting me prepared for the real world. And at the same time, I think we do a great job, make some great stories, do great journalism for the city of Phoenix and the state of Arizona.
I'm Ted Simons, host and managing editor of Arizona Horizon. Join us each weekday at 5:30 and 10 as we bring you the top newsmakers who impact the state. We cover the stories in depth that shape and affect our local communities, and we take the time to ensure that all voices are equally heard. For more than 30 years, Arizona Horizon has been your voice and your source for what matters most, right here on Arizona PBS.
If you're looking for one show that tells you what happened that day in the world of business, it's NBR.
We saw a classic shipwreck.
Nordstrom's opening stores.
Triple-digit gains.
Crude climbs.
We're there to help our audience find new investment ideas.
The market still has room to go up.
Nightly Business Report is the longest-running business television program in history.
Weeknights at 10:30 on Arizona PBS.
For families with a child diagnosed with neurological disorders, a day out at the lake can be challenging. But as reporter Nicole Hernandez shows us, Barrow Neurological Institute is helping to make water sports a reality, at least for a few days.
More than 100 volunteers were on the docks helping people with neurological or physical disabilities participate in water sports.
It feels exhilarating. It just feels nice to kind of have the wind on your face and not for a second have kind of the confines of the wheelchair.
And despite their physical challenges, almost everyone was riding wave after wave after wave with determination.
I'm one of the neurosurgeons at the Barrow, and so many of my patients have been out here, and it's just really meaningful for me to watch them recover after rehab, and getting out here, it makes it all worthwhile.
Today's participants have over a half dozen choices of water sports, including kayaking, water skiing, and adaptive surfing.
You swing, I swing.
These programs are life-changing. The families get to play together. They're taking a break from going to the hospital, or sitting in waiting rooms for therapy.
This is the 22nd year the Barrow Neurological Institute has hosted the event at Bartlett Lake, giving hope and happiness to hundreds of families.
I just find it kind of as that peaceful moment where everything's just kind of silent and calm.
On Bartlett Lake, Nicole Hernandez, Cronkite News.
Cronkite News is proud to be the news division of Arizona PBS. Here's what's coming up on Arizona Horizon and PBS NewsHour.
On the next Arizona Horizon, it's the Journalists Roundtable. The political season kicks into gear as candidates qualify for the ballot, and more on former Secretary of State Ken Bennett's tweet regarding Senator John McCain's wife.
I'm Judy Woodruff. On the next NewsHour, a record number of military veterans are running for Congress. How might that change what Washington does? That's Friday on the PBS NewsHour.
That's it for Cronkite News tonight. Thank you for joining us.
For top Arizona stories anytime, go to cronkitenews.azpbs.org.